8 months ago, we left everything familiar behind, not because we wanted an adventure, although we like adventures, but because we had to. The rising cost of living, the erosion of our freedoms, and the horrible healthcare system in Canada made us ask, is this really the life we want for our family? We decided that Canada was not a safe place to raise our children, and we took a leap of faith and we moved to El Salvador. This is what we learned, what we faced, and why, despite the challenges, we don't regret for a second packing up a 20-foot shipping container, 12 suitcases, 5 backpacks, 3 cats, 3 kids, and us, and moved to a foreign country. Hi, my name is Hagenaars, and I cannot believe that 2/3 of a year have already gone by. Wow, time flies. As usual, I'll give you an update on our monthly living expenses. That part of the video takes the longest to make, and it goes by in a few seconds. Kind of like my money coming out of my wallet. Buenas tardes, mis amigos, y bendiciones para todos ustedes. Good afternoon, my friends, and blessings to you all. Bienvenido a mi canal if you are new here, y bienvenido a nuevo if we're already old friends. I always break these videos into categories, and they're always the same categories. Let's start again with the people and culture. We've met so many great people in this country, and so many great people who want to support this country. Through our fundraiser, I've seen firsthand the love and support for El Salvador. Our school parking lot project is underway. The principal sent me a bunch of pictures and videos of the progress this week, and we were driving by the other day. I actually saw the man putting in the pillars that are holding up the new gate for the new parking lot area. El Salvador's children were living under fear just a few short years ago. Children were not allowed to go out after dark for fear of being made part of a gang or worse, being killed. And I was told children of gang members, even as young as 4 years old, were selling drugs at school. It was not safe here. And if a young person wanted to join a gang, whether by force, need, or desire, they had to kill one of their own family members. I'm told that if you had a police officer in your family, that they were the target. And as a child, you would have to kill them, whether they're your father or brother. And if the parents didn't pay the extortion to the gangs, their children were either raped or killed. I cannot even imagine trying to raise a family in that type of situation. The people of El Salvador have been through so much. They are resilient and kind and have a renewed sense of optimism for a better and brighter future for the children. When we teach English on Saturdays, we have this older lady, I assume the abuela, of these 2 young boys ages 9 to 11. She always brings them in for English class. Even the Saturday before Palm Sunday, when all of our regular kids thought it was a holiday already, she brought the 2 in for the class. She wants to have a better life for them. And I don't know why she brings them and not their mother or father. I can assume maybe that their mother and father are either in jail or have passed away. So many grandparents are raising the next generation of children because of that. Because the gangs had terrorized this country and have put many people in the grave, in jail, or they fled. So many kids right now are growing up without a father. We have big plans to contribute to the youth in El Salvador, starting with this teaching English on Saturdays and moving on to when we start our business. We have big plans there. I can't wait to get far enough that I can tell you more about it. The cost of living. Oh, my least favorite part of the video. This takes me so long to do because I literally have to get all the receipts, go through all my bank accounts, write everything down and figure it all out, and it takes me a day to do this part of the video. So last month we bought a car, and I happened to mention that the car needed some mechanical work done, and actually part of it was the turbo. It had some oil leaking into it, so it had to be cleaned out or refurbished, I guess, because we couldn't get a new one, or maybe we could have got a new one if we could find it, but it would be $2,000 just for the turbo. It was $750 just to clean it up and get it running again. So that whole mechanic bill was actually a big chunk of this month's expenses. And we're still buying some pieces of furniture. However, this furniture behind me, that won't be included until next month because it actually came on April 21st. And these are the expenses from March 20th to April 20th. First off, we have our rent and our monthly security fee. That's $600. The electricity is $86.23. Water, $2.39. Drinking water, $62. Cooking gas, we didn't need a refill this month, but I just finished a tank the other day. So next month I'll need to put a $12 refill cost in there. So they do last quite a while. Our internet, again, I told you last month it had gone up for some reason. Now it's $36.97. Our cell phone, this time I did not do any extra for the kids. And next month I actually decided I would not even do Annika's or Lawrence's because I feel like they're just wasting their data. Earlier on in the month, they ran out last month. I did not top them up. So this month month, I had included the four $12 plans for GJ, Willem, Lawrence, Nautica, and a $15 plan for me, but next month it'll be less. So this month is only $63. Groceries was a little bit higher. This actually included 2 trips to PriceSmart, actually. And one of those trips included a big stainless steel table that we got to put our freeze dryer on. And we got another one of those shelving units for GJ's tools, I believe, on that one. So that's $1147.15. The school is for the busing. That's $72.50 every month. Eating out is $361.16. That includes lunch from when we went to PriceSmart, 2 trips to Pollo Campestre. I'll talk about that in a bit. And going to Murph's Resort for Holy Week. We actually ate out on the way there. Entertainment, it's $82.01. That's my Amazon Prime, Netflix, etc., etc. But also includes Annika's birthday party at Thermos Del Rio. Our household goods, and this is also a housekeeper. We actually have hired somebody to help us clean the house. That's $25 a week. That's $100 of that monthly expense. That included, we got a shelving unit over a toilet in the kids' bathroom. We got a new light fixture for our laundry room because we could not replace that light bulb. It was too old. So we got a whole new light fixture. We got a new fan, some electrical supplies for GJ doing that light fixture, as well as some of the supplies we need to make the electrical plug. We need to plug the freeze dryer in. We still need a few more things for that, but that's some of the things are included in that. We got a big garbage can for outside. We got some wiper blades for the cars and some other items at Vidri's. This is all hardware store stuff. Transportation, this is including the $1,245 for the mechanical work. We have $750 of that again was for the turbo. So that totals $1336.72. There's some gas in there as well and something else. Medical, that's $99.96. $55 of that is for my inhaler. I need to get it every 2 months. There's some aloe gel for when we got a little bit of a sunburn from Annika's birthday, and just a couple other things I got, like Tums and different things. Pets is $0 because my pet food is actually in the grocery budget under PriceSmart, and there was nothing extra for the cats. No Chivo visits or anything like that. No medication I needed. Relocation $0, and probably that will never have an item again because I think we've covered all the costs for our relocating to El Salvador over the last 8 months. The driver's license was sort of like the last bit, and I think that's it. So that gives us a grand total of $4,047.62. And if you take out the mechanic bill for the car, that's $3102.62, and that included, like I said, a few things like a shelving unit, 2 shelving units actually, big stainless steel table for the freeze dryer, and a new fan and just some hardware supplies. We didn't bring, we bought tools, but not necessarily like screws and picture hanging stuff and all that kind of stuff. We didn't bring that with us. So we're going to have to build that up again so I can do some more decorating around here and change a few things around. So next part is the food. And like I mentioned, Pollo Campestre, better stay on to hear what I think about that. So we eat a lot, I know. My only excuse is that when we've been out all day doing stuff like a trip to PriceSmart or going to get groceries or going to the doctors, which we just did with Willem the other day, my only excuse is that when we're out all day doing these things, I really don't want to come home and cook. That is really my only excuse. And there are no convenience style foods here. In Canada, I would, pick up a package of like a frozen lasagna or different things like that. And I do see we have frozen meals in, especially PriceSmart has tons of frozen meals. When I look at, I don't know, maybe I look at things differently now that we moved here, but I look at the quality and what's in it and the price, and that doesn't really seem worth it nutrition wise or just the cost of it, because some things at PriceSmart can be really expensive, like a prepackaged item. And then I look at stuff at like Super Selectos or at Max Expense or whatever. You get like a box of chicken nuggets or something. I'll just throw that in the oven for the kids. But they're super expensive, and I just can't bring myself to it when I can get a whole chicken for $4. I just can't bring myself to these convenience foods. So I will eventually, now we are getting more settled, I will eventually get out my pressure canner. I have lots of jars, and I'll start making some of these convenience foods again, even if it's just canning chicken or beef or different things where it's already ready. You just add it to something, or canning whole meals, because we did that before in Canada. And I have lots of recipes and all the equipment. It's just a matter of having the stove on for 90 minutes at a time. And actually, since it's gas, I probably don't have to have it on as high as I would have at home. So I don't know. We'll see. I haven't tried it yet on the gas stove, but pressure canners are finicky, and I have to look up our elevation on the chart to know what weight to put on it. Anyway, I know it's all excuses. Excuses, Charity. Stop making excuses. I will get to that. I will be able to have convenience style food that I've handmade on my shelves soon. Maybe not this month, but soon, very soon. So I've gone out to the fruit and vegetable stands that are along the roads the last 2 weekends in a row, picking up, tomatoes, green peppers, onions, avocados, mangoes, watermelon, eggplant, zucchini, cucumber, all these, whatever you can imagine to have for dinner. Potatoes. Today I only got a couple because I wasn't really parked in a good spot. Anyway, I was lazy today, so there was a landslide I'll get to that in a bit. But anyway, today the traffic is crazy. I've been doing that so that like today what I did, I took my tomatoes and green peppers and onions and I blended all that up in my Ninja and then I put it in my slow cooker and it's making a nice beautiful sauce for lasagna tonight. That's what's for dinner tonight. So I try not to pick up too much junk food or have too much snack food, but we do buy bags of chips now and again. Or when people bring us chocolate bars from Canada, we had those. A couple of things like some microwave popcorn or that kind of thing. Typically don't have a lot of junk food in the house, so we're trying to eat as healthy as possible. Challenging with children with a child with special needs, very food fussy, I'll say. Very food fussy. It's really hard to get him to eat certain things. But I try my best, like I said, hide all the vegetables in the sauce. That gives him lots of vitamins he doesn't even realize he's getting. Perfect. So this past month we went out to Pollo Campestre, twice no less, in Santa Ana. And I have to say it's actually better than Pollo Campero. I know, don't like send the hit squad out for me here. And this is the true Salvadorian, this is what I'm told. This is the true Salvadorian chicken shack. So it's better. And I can say this is why it's better, because we always get a family meal. And Pollo Campero, we would get 12 pieces of chicken. I think it comes with maybe it comes with 6 orders of fries, something like that, and salad and bread. Bread never has butter here. I find that odd, but butter is not a thing with the bread. I asked my friend one time, what do you do with the bread? How do you eat the bread? You have no butter. He said, oh, you put it in the coleslaw. Okay. I'm not really a big fan of the coleslaw, so we typically, when we do, I'm not sure about in the restaurant, but when we do the takeout, it's $17.05 for an 8-piece of chicken, and it comes with 4 fries. Yeah, it comes with 4 fries, or you can get salad, fries or salad, because I got 3 of these the other day, 3 8-pieces, and we end up with 10 fries and 2 salads. That adds up somehow, whatever that was. When you go to Pollo Campestre, you get the family meal. You get nachos to begin with. Now these nachos these are like homemade nacho chips, which are kind of cool. They're not like the corn chip nachos you get in the bag. The sauce has beans on it. I'm not a huge fan of the beans, but Lawrence likes it. And I mean, for the kid with the food issues, I'm glad he likes that. And then you get your chicken. It does not have fries. And it has salad, but then you get a dessert with it. It's a little bit more expensive than Pollo Campero because Pollo Campero, I think, is $25 for that family meal, and this one's $40, something like that. Pollo Campero has unlimited drinks, and I don't think these drinks at Pollo Campestre were unlimited. I was trying to remember. The last time it was $45. I get an iced coffee, though. That is the difference. They have iced coffee. Pollo Campero doesn't have iced coffee. And the dessert is the same sort of nacho chips they made, which are not like salty like a corn chip, but then they have ice cream with it and caramel on it. That's really delicious, actually. So we do enjoy the dessert at the end. I think that's what the only difference is, except, it's the better tasting chicken and it's a bit juicier and it's a bit more expensive, but then the family meal is slightly different and you don't get the french fries with it. You get nachos instead and you get a dessert. So that's the big difference for eating out as a family. We always try to look for the deals, and that's the family deal that we get. Safety and security is our next topic. Now, at the beginning, I mentioned that life was really different in El Salvador just 3 years ago. Very, very dangerous. And we saw that kind of fear creeping into Canada as well. It's slightly different, but it's coming. In October, after we left Canada, there was a 15-year-old boy that was killed by allegedly a 16-year-old trans kid. And that was in the town of Perth, which is where my eldest son went to school. The town only has 9,000 people. I heard in one story there was actually a group of trans kids that attacked and killed this 15-year-old boy. My son is 15 years old, and they may have been going to the same schools because my son did have a trans kid in his class the year before who was not going to that school this year. So I think he was the kid, but I don't know. Allegedly, I don't know. I'm just saying that really hit close to home. And that was just in October, right after we left in August. It's getting very violent in Canada too. Canada has different types of gangs, and they have the kind of gangs that infiltrate the government. And it may not be as obvious. There's not the corruption where you got to give somebody a $10 bill to bribe them, but it's a different kind of corruption where they use lawfare against their political opponents. They do things like let criminals out of jail so they can go kill somebody again. They do stuff like in Nova Scotia when we had that, murder spree where they didn't bother to notify the public and do they failed to do a lot of other stuff. That night the guy killed 20 people. That was crazy. I mean, he brought up the murder rate of Canada that one year, probably higher than we've had many years. But it's happening all the time. There was just a shooting at Pearson Airport the other day. Remember they had that big gold shipment that was stolen through the airport a few months ago, or maybe it was a year ago already. There's all kinds of different crime in Canada. In Toronto, it was the chief of police. He told people, leave your little key fob by the door so when they break in to steal your car and get your keys, they don't have to walk through the whole house, possibly rape and murder you. Just leave the key by the door. They'll see it and they'll just get the key and leave, right? This is what the chief of police is recommending in Toronto because the car thefts were so high. There's tons of crime in Canada. And my kids were approached, we'll say, on their way home to our house from our friend's house about getting a ride from a stranger in a car. And, my son son ran away back to my daughter saying, no, hell no. He was not going to let some stranger, drive him home. There is a big child sex trafficking ring that goes between Toronto and Montreal that comes through where we live in Smiths Falls along the highway. So it's very dangerous there too. It just maybe is hidden a bit better. I think about other countries that do that, like, I don't know, the UK, try to hide all their crimes in that department especially. So it's just a matter of time before these gangs are more bold and brazen, like the MS-13 or the Barrio 18 in Canada. It's going to happen too if things don't change. I have a fear of the new laws they're trying to pass. I mean, Parliament was prorogued, but when it resumes, if the Liberal Party gets in again, this law might go through. And this law says if you say anything that they consider hate speech online, and what is hate speech? Well, it's speech that they hate. It's speech that offends somebody. And like I said, I have a special needs child. He has autism and he has no filter. He says and does things without any thought to any consequence. So I could see this as being a real threat to him. He'll say something online. Somebody will be offended by it. They will call, the police and say, oh, this kid, Lawrence Hagenaars, has committed some hate speech online and I'm so offended. And then we would get charged with $70,000 fine. $20,000 goes to the snitch. $50,000 goes to the government if they pass this law. And if the Liberal Party gets in again, I don't see why they wouldn't, right? It was their law. The other part of that is he could also be under house arrest. I don't know how long, forever maybe. And like I said, he has no filter. And unless we take away all privileges all the time for eternity, he will eventually get back online and he's going to say something real stupid that's going to hurt somebody's feelings. I could end up losing my son to the jail system in Canada if they keep this progression of laws. What happens after house arrest? Then is it going to jail for so many days or so many years? I don't know. In Canada, they use lawfare against their political opponents, so who knows what they would do in this case. I think at the UK and all the crazy that's gone on there with people that say things online, even after they delete them, they come and get arrested by the police. I could totally see this impacting my family in Canada too, because Canada's just behind the UK in that department of crazy. It just isn't safe to live in Canada anymore. And El Salvador is safe. I feel like people that talk about El Salvador and Canada, they have these rose-colored glasses on, and their glasses are about 20 years old. And they see Canada as this amazing land of opportunity. And yeah, it was maybe in the 80s and 90s. That's not what it is now. And they see El Salvador as this Civil War, gang-ridden hellscape. Yeah, it was 20 years ago, but it isn't now. They got to change the glasses because here it's safe and there it isn't. We need to take our kids to where it was safe. So I find under this category of safety and security, I am in the right spot to raise a family. And if you're in Canada right now, you might be thinking otherwise about living in Canada. Adjusting to the language. So my kids are adapting well. Willem is doing the best out of all of them. Last week, the principal gave me a list of all the supplies that are needed to complete the parking lot project. And there was one of the words I was reading I didn't know. I said, oh, what is arena? I don't know this word. And Willem jumps up and says, sand. I'm like, oh, I didn't learn that word in Duolingo, and I'm ahead of him in that. So he learned that through school, remembered it. Maybe it's a geology lesson or something. I'm not sure why he knew the word sand, but that's what the word was. And I'm very impressed that he's learning the language quickly. The other two are struggling a little bit with the language and maybe making some friends at school. Like I said, Lawrence with autism, no filter. He says and does things that people might decide not to like him after he's said or done things with this filter on and said and done things that are inappropriate. And maybe he's lost a couple friends. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with him. It's hard to get a clear answer from him. With Annika, I know that when we reported that girl as being a bully, the friend group that she had and when school had started, apparently they don't like her as much now because she reported the bully. Sad to say, this is the life we live in with little kids. And she had a boyfriend there for a little while. I don't know what's really going on with him. She says he's not really talking to her, so that's okay. She doesn't need a boyfriend 10 years old. We're good with that. But I am thinking about getting a high school student to sit with her during class. There's a girl who's bilingual, and if she could help her with some stuff, I think that's better. Giving her the phone with the translator, I don't think that's useful. And like I said, her and Lawrence were using up all their data. I don't know what they're doing in school, but it wasn't using the translator because Willem didn't go through all his data using the translator for a month. So they were watching videos and doing other nonsensical stuff or sharing their hotspot. I know Annika did that with her boyfriend. So anyway, we're done with that. We need a different type of help for them. Also, Annika just needs to be motivated. I think the friends part is a big part of her demotivation right now. We're going to look into that and work with her and try to get something going on to make her more motivated to enjoy school and see what we can do. We'll just do our best. Now for us, I'm still doing Duolingo. I'm almost at 1,000 days. I think I'm 990 days now. It's been going on forever. And I also, to complement that education I'm having, I decided to start watching a Spanish soap opera. It has helped me with my comprehension, especially since you're watching something, you kind of get a gist of what's going on. You pick up a few of the words. The first day I watched almost 2 hours because it was like the first one was like an hour and a half. And then I watched the second episode. It's a little less time, but I didn't have any subtitles on and I was doing really good at understanding understanding what they're saying. And then the second one, I did put some subtitles on to see if I can catch some words to, especially the conjugation of some of the verbs. So that was fun. I'm enjoying that, and it's entertaining at the same time. We're all learning poco a poco, right? Just a little bit at a time. So infrastructure and utilities. Well, like I mentioned at the beginning, we had a landslide near us last night. In fact, we were unable to get to school today to teach this morning because I couldn't turn on the highway to go back. We go west, and then we have to go around the Opico roundabout and then turn back east, and that was blocked off. Now, I'm guessing now that we didn't know this morning what was going on. We just knew it was blocked off. And I ended up turning down a road going south, and then we turned left again to go east through this dirt road and get back into Lourdes. We picked up a few vegetables through Lourdes, and then, went to come back home, and we went over the overpass that goes where you would go to Santa Tecla if you're going to go east, or back to Lourdes if you're going to go west. That overpass was also blocked going to Santa Tecla. So we didn't know what was going on. I feel like we're being trapped in Lourdes, the police at each end. Nobody can go out. And I thought, oh my gosh, are they trying to round up another loose gang member? That wasn't it at all. It was a landslide, and it was going towards Santa Tecla. So what they were doing, because there's two ways to get to Santa Tecla, one at the Opico roundabout if you go north, or if you would go east. They blocked the way east and let people go north. And the roundabout was insane. There were so many large transport trucks there. It was hard to get in and around, and actually 2 trucks were in each lane, and I was in the middle, and they were both kind of converging, because lanes are really just a suggestion, especially near a roundabout. They were kind of converging, and I was feeling I was getting wedged in. I kind of pulled back, got behind this guy, and I could have went towards Santa Ana and then tried to go over the overpass. I realized that probably was blocked as well. And if I would have spoke better Spanish, or thought, because I could stop and ask the police, can I just go because I'm just going to the school? If I would have realized it was a landslide, maybe, and where it was, I could have just stopped and said, I just want to go to the school. Just let me, because they were letting some motorcycles through and maybe some cars. I don't know, because I wasn't going to go to Santa Tecla. I just had to go through the roundabout. Then there's the military base and then the school right next to it. So I wouldn't have had to go very far. And also I would have had to go that way to go back home if I would have realized what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. It was like 8 o'clock this morning. Or no, sorry, 7 o'clock this morning. And there was so much traffic at 7 o'clock this morning. Crazy. But anyway, there was a landslide. That's what happened. So we were unable to get to school. The principal had already texted me this morning to tell me, you may not be able to get to school. He said the path is blocked. It's very complicated. And I said, well, let me try. And then I texted him. I pulled over. I'm like, yeah, I can't get back. Even if I were to try to get back, I can't. I'd still have to come up and go around again. And I can't get around the roundabout. So we gave up on the whole school thing this morning. So I let the kids know I can't make it. Imagine this happened with a lot of people coming to school today. Now, this landslide was on what they call the Los Churros Highway. It's the highway we live on, the Pan American Highway #1. And this is the one they're doing all the renovations on, and it's going to open up soon. It's going to be amazing and beautiful. Well, it's also the most dangerous highway we have in El Salvador. That's what Stan told us when we moved out here, because of the landslides. That's a big component of it. Also, some crazy traffic and crazy drivers probably are part of that. And it is coming down from Santa Tecla, so the hills can be steep and there's turns. All those things don't help with preventing accidents, we'll say. But the landslide, we had one just a little while ago, maybe 4 months ago, maybe around Christmas time, maybe. And it's a South Korean company that's actually doing the highway here. And I think it was 3 people died in that last landslide. So that South Korean company compensated those families of the workers. And I don't know what happened now, but I did see a picture. There was a truck that was caught in the landslide, at least one big truck, like a refrigerator truck or something. It looks like from the window and stuff, it looks like the driver probably made it out okay. I guess it depends the window. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know any more about it, except I know that they're working on fixing this highway. It will be open soon. Right now, we are in danger of landslides and still, even with some of the work going on, because that was sort of a part that they had already kind of sculpted the land, I'll say, and terraced it a little bit, and they had the cement on it with the drain holes, but it's still slid down. So it can be dangerous, but widening the highway, that helps with a lot of the other parts of it. And if they strengthen the sides where the landslides could happen, that will help with the rest of it. And I kept hearing helicopters going by today, so I don't know if there was like search and rescue efforts or if it was news helicopters, what it was going back and forth overhead, because there's an airport strip near Opico, I think, and then we have the landslide going east towards Santa Tecla. And they're trying to improve all kinds of highways here. Bukele just made an announcement before Easter about the new highway that goes east, and he did a great speech, amazing footage that we actually thought about going out that way during Holy Week, but we got busy with a bunch of other stuff, and instead we actually decided to go west, and we went out to, if you've heard of Murph's Life on YouTube, you would know that he's made a resort in Los Naranjos, if I said that correctly, and we went out there to visit him. So that was really great. He's doing such amazing work in El Salvador. He's employing lots of people, and he's given them many jobs to build this resort. Sometimes the work isn't being done great, so he has to fire those contractors and hire new ones. That's the only thing I can say about living in El Salvador here. The standards are not the same as they are in North America, and sometimes things don't get done well, like putting in the wrong gauge electrical wire for, a big restaurant area or whatnot. So the lesson I learned from this is that don't go away and expect contractors to do the work while you're gone. You need to constantly be supervising them to make sure that things are done correctly so you don't have to pay twice for the same work. So as far as infrastructure, I would say that the standards are a little different here. So just realize that going in and you won't be disappointed. Reflecting on our journey. Things are not perfect in El Salvador. In fact, there is no country that's perfect. They all have their flaws, some way, shape, or form. But comparing Canada to El Salvador, it's like night and day. Here we experience safety and freedom. There is very little government encroachment into our daily lives. In Canada, our lives revolve around government rules and regulations. In fact, Canada is basically shutting down all small businesses or family-run businesses with their strict regulations. That is not good for communities, and it's not good for the economy, unless you actually want communism. Maybe that's the goal, I'm not sure. I'm going to give you an example. Egg farmers get arrested for selling too many eggs. You think, Charity, you're absolutely crazy off your rocker, right? No. Dairy and egg farmers, and maybe more, I'm not even sure about all the, maybe there's beef and everything else, they have to buy quotas in order to sell their products. In Alberta, if you have over 300 laying hens, you need to pay $700 per hen for your egg quota. Now that means the Alberta, and maybe the federal government, are getting $210,000 before you even sell an egg. How many eggs does that hen have to lay before you get that $700 back? They only lay eggs for 2 to 3 years. It almost seems unviable. What happens if you have more eggs, but you don't have the quota to sell them? Well, they send 5 RCMP cruisers, possibly 10 RCMP officers, to your home to arrest you for selling too many eggs. I kid you not. Canada's full of real crime. Remember how I mentioned the gold heist, the Nova Scotia killing spree, the Toronto car thief ring going on, among many other crimes, shooting at Pearson Airport. Real crimes happening. What do they focus on? The egg farmer. If you want a country in decline, that's Canada. That is what a country in decline looks like. It's crazy town. You see, this is the BS and nonsense that we wanted to leave behind. I wanted to move to a country of common sense, safety, and a future for my children, not government bureaucracy and nonsensical laws. So that is why we came here. I get all of that in one package, and we absolutely have no regrets moving our family here. If you need freedom from government bureaucracy and you want to find a place to spread your wings and prosper, maybe El Salvador is for you too. We have a WhatsApp group for people who are either looking to come here, already making plans to come here, already have arrived. And we're doing a weekly call. We're going to change them up to be Monday nights. I'm not sure the exact time. It might be 7 our time. We were meeting at 6 is a bit too early for people. 7 or 8 our time. Just look for the link in the description below. I might have to adjust the time to try to make it the best time for everybody, or the most amount of people anyway. And if you want to join us, it's going to be a Google Meet link in the description below. Just click on that, add it to your calendar, and maybe we'll see you Monday night. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Again, I'll be doing these monthly updates. I'm going to stop at 12 months though, because this video takes so long to prepare. It's the budget thing. I really hate looking at the numbers. I don't want to see how much money I spent. I think soon though, when we stop furnishing the house, although I still need bookshelves made and a couple other cupboards, eventually I will stop spending large sums of money and just have the real living expenses for, you know, the utilities, the rent, the groceries, that kind of stuff, without any major expenses. And I'd like to see if I can get that down to $2,500 or less for a family of 5. I think that is just literally a fraction of what most people spend in North America for the same amount of people. We could not live on the equivalent of $2,500 US in Canadian dollars. You could not survive on that in Canada a month. It's not possible. It really isn't. Not for a family of 5. I don't think so. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave us any questions you want in the comments. I read all of them and I try to answer all the comments. And if you want, you can join us on the call and ask your questions live. We'll see you in the next video.
Don't forget to hit the like button.